Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? I almost was that lady with because I realized I'm the queen of misspelling and I had to correct something in the title, which I thought I did earlier. How are you all doing? You're getting two LP stuff, right in a row because stuff keeps landing on my lap and what's that movie from like one of those mob movies? Just when you thought you got away, they pull you back in. So let me do the YouTuber stuff, then I'll introduce the topic. We appreciate comments in chat. And yeah, I'm stirring the pot and I don't care. So first, follow me on Twitter. That's been a lot of fun lately at Karen Ann Harlos. And of course, I really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel and put your comments. Love seeing the comments. Would love to know what, not necessarily, yeah, where people are listening for, but like what affiliate you're involved with if you are in the LP. I got a lot of great feedback from the show last night that put a lot of people in Washington on notice that didn't know before. But, whatever. I don't mean whatever as in carelessly. It's like that's a good thing, but I just do things to keep everybody informed. And last but not least, please support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. And I realized I messed up my upload on the case against Christian nationalism. I omitted, like, if anyone watched that on Patreon, you're like, that ended abruptly. Yeah, I didn't merge two parts. So I'm going to be fixing that this weekend and it will be going up on the channel as well. But something else I'd like to suggest, I'd like to request of you guys. Like I had heard from persons yesterday that the show in Washington really helped keep them up to date. If you can't become a patron at this time, but you find a specific show is giving you information that you wouldn't have otherwise got, please send a super thanks or a super chat. I do spend a good deal of research time on these very LP specific shows. You'll see setting up the show today, took a couple hours, so I'd really, really appreciate it. So let's introduce what's going on. I have as my guest John Ponty from Liberty Centuries. He does a lot of reporting on the Libertarian Party. I can tell you that when I was still in the Mises cult and he would write us, I was kind of mean. So John's listening in the green room. Sorry about that. I was in a cult. What can I say? But, he helps keep the party accountable. And Austin Martin hates him. So, I mean, that's one of the best endorsements. So let me give you the background and then we're going to get into the discussion. Actually, we're going to do the background together. So let me get him on right now so he's not just hanging out. And hello, Nathan. Hopefully this works. We troubleshooted this before the show. Okay. Can you hear?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Okay. And yep. And your audio is coming through. So tend to jump in whenever because I'm Gabby and not terribly used to having guests. So I'm going to give my view of the background and you can add to it. So I'm in Region 1. I have absolutely no idea where John lives and he doesn't need to give that information. Unfortunately, we are the type of party right now where people do need to be protective of their identity and their location, and I completely respect that. But I am in Region 1. It's far beyond any anonymity for me. And Jim Wiley, who became a Republican here in Colorado, who attended the last LNC meeting with a MAGA hat on. I wonder if he feels like a big ass now. Well, he has always been a big ass, but I wonder if he actually feels like one now. That created a vacancy on the LNC. They elected Bryce Thon of Wisconsin. I don't know how Colorado voted. For everyone who thinks I'm all up in Colorado's business, I told everyone I'm not really involved. I have no idea if they knew who Bryce was. They never asked me my opinion. I didn't even know he was running for, or I would have told them. I've known, well, hold on. Nathan is saying if AZLP is going through an upheaval, You're going to have to fill me in offline, Nathan. No, I haven't heard because
New stream
I've,
idea for you. New stream idea for you.
yeah. Do
You
you
go with
know what's going
Washington now.
on?
You can do it. No, but
Okay.
you've already done Washington. Why not go through all
Yeah.
50 states?
Here's what's saying. Yeah, no, I had no idea, Nathan, because I'm not really trying to mind affiliates business. If I wanted to mind affiliates business, but I'll hear you out. I would mind Colorado's, and I haven't been. I go and listen to their monthly meetings. That's the extent of my involvement. But in any event, I would have warned them. But when you think of Mises, you think of certain, my listeners at least will think of certain negative things. Well, Bryce is that on steroids. And so he got elected by Region 1. I don't even know if the chairs knew who he was. He probably might have been the only person to step up, doesn't matter. Regional chairs elected doesn't mean that they are at all representative of the delegates, because I do not think Region 1 chairs are representative of the actual delegates. But who knows? I don't know. And immediately when he was elected, Stephen Nikela, because Matt Johnson of Florida, who's great, resigned from the candidate support committee. It's a LNC. The position has to be filled by an LNC member, and I guess Bryce was the only one who was willing to do it. So they put they put Bryce in. They nominated Stephen nominated Bryce to this position. And that's where we're at. John and I have been writing the LNC because the LNC previously tried to censure New Hampshire. Stephen thought New Hampshire was doing terrible. Bryce is the living embodiment of a lot of the things that we criticize New Hampshire for. And this LNC has nothing to gain. They should not be putting this person in any kind of committee position. Least of all, candidate support is like the absolute worst. They need to take a stand, unlike the young Republicans or the Republican Party against the Republicans, and show that certain viewpoints are simply not welcome. That is freedom of association. Bryce is being a crybigot and claiming, freedom of association. That's exactly it. The party should not want to associate with bigotry, period. But I'm going to let John give his view on the background of this.
Well, so far you've definitely put on the important points. Bryce Thon, he is of course currently Region 1 alternate. He was elected. Most likely, not. I don't think he was elected so far with the support of Wisconsin, just because not only him being the state organizer for the Wisconsin state organizer for the Mises Caucus, but he has had, let's just say, conflicts with the Wisconsin. Now, before everything with the So to Speak caucus, I'm not sure if I necessarily considered him a friend, but he was a friend of a friend. So he came to me previously in order to bring up concerns about the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin. I made a whole article about it because I believe when it came to the Region 1 agreement that was signed, I believe that what was done in regards to having the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin join Region 1 was, let's just say, not up to par. It was.
You can be honest, John. You know I arranged that, so you could be completely honest. I regret that decision. I do think it was legal, but I regret it.
Legal, I think it could. I don't know if it was legal per se. It probably, when it comes to the eyes of the state and the laws of the state, or
I meant legal within the party under the bylaws. I found a loophole. I found a loophole.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. Yes. I think it was a thing where it was an issue with the loophole in regards to that. It's been a while since I report on that, but
yeah.
Overall, shady stuff. I think.
Oh, I was shady. I was shady with that. Yeah, I'll admit it.
So,
I'll admit it.
Right. Enough about Wisconsin, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yes, Thon was the state organizer. Thon is the Wisconsin state organizer for the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus. He, I believe, is friends with Austin Martin and Andrew Chatterton currently, which probably influenced, of course, his appointment in regards to joining as Region One alternate. And of course, he is also he is the founder and current leader of the Libertarian Party, so to speak, caucus. Which, when I had learned about that before, I had talked directly with Mr. Thon, being very critical to him in regards to what his caucus is posting, because he is the leader. He has to take responsibility over what his caucus does. But yeah, he used to be sort of a friend of a friend. Because of all this criticism against him recently, there's been a falling out to some extent. He already fell out with another person he used to be friends with, of course, my friend and my colleague Jeremiah Harding, and he had fed Harding information regarding the stuff happening with Mr. Michael Lopez. That's a whole other story, but it has been a thing where we have been critical of his caucus, and he has not, at least in my opinion, taken any actual responsibility, taken any accountability about what his caucus has done, which I think will be shown at least through through the information that we're going to go over, that
Yeah.
he's trying to dodge accountability for a lot of bad crap.
And where I come down, where I do still follow, it's not so much state stuff, but just to get the Wisconsin thing out of the way, because I like saying things, publicly. I've said this before, but since he is from Wisconsin, I want to get this right out in front. Michael Heiss and I plotted and planned for the Region 1 super region. I found loopholes. They were legal. But again, that doesn't make it right. It was wrong. I've apologized. I regret it. But I'm not going to pretend like I wasn't a major engineer of that. I was. Again, legal. But you want to know when somebody finds a loophole that results in an outcome like that, bylaws need to be shorn up. But I wish I hadn't done that. I do.
Yeah. When I had
whatever.
written my article, when
I was in a cult. I mean, what can I say? I did culty things. Yes, I take accountability. Nobody forced me. But I was also in a cult. So
when I had just a quick thing, when I had originally written my article on Wisconsin, I specifically I had reviewed the Wisconsin bylaws, at least the ones that are posted on site, and it's like there are basic grammatical and formatting errors and sentences that trailed off without concluding in there that
their bylaws are bad.
They definitely needed a lot of cleaning, and I think I've been direct to them about that. But Bryce had been commenting because he was in support of, or I don't know if he was necessarily in support, but I think he was against the attempt at the executive committee of the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin trying to rectify the whole situation of them getting sort of shanghaied into Region 1. Anyway, yes, let's continue.
Well, their bylaws need a lot of work, not just on the regional thing. Their meetings require 21 days notice. That is absolutely crazy pants, because that's another thing that went to bite them in the butt, is the 21-day notice. But that's a whole other show. But you got Bryson, and we've talked about the so to speak caucus. For those who don't know, that right there should be a red flag. Listen, I mean, I care, but I don't care. So let me say how I don't care. Listen, you're going to read whatever philosopher you're going to read. I do care in that I think some of Hoppy's idea is neo-feudalism, which I oppose. But the one thing that I think is particularly problematic, and hold on, I got to stand up 1 second because my damn furnace came on.
Oh.
Yes, I am a basement dweller here. Okay. The most problematic thing I think he said is the way he worded, so tongue in cheek and almost like with a sense of joy that certain people from his covenant communities, which again, see, like you want to talk about the worst of a homeowners association, would need to be physically removed, so to speak. And that is just, I find that really revolting. Though I think his argumentation ethics are good. I could say good things about Hoppy, but I don't like that. And this caucus that Bryce started is called the So to Speak Caucus, which is like a wink wink at physical violence against people. And their logo is throwing people out of helicopters. I'm sorry, that's just not libertarian. You could think, oh, haha, it's funny. Yeah, it might be funny if you're still a sophomore boy hiding Playboys under your mattress, but it's not funny for adult grown ass men. I'm sorry, it's immature, and it got the Pepe frogs as a, I mean, literally, they're if a grandma with pink hair is telling you to grow up, you're really in a bad place, okay? Because I'm pretty forgiving, I'm pretty much a free spirit, but when it's even too immature for me, I'm like, okay. But so to just tie the things together, I'm blind because I am a grandma.
As a quick thing about the whole helicopter thing, because that is a reference specifically to Augusto Pinochet and how his regime would
Yes.
throw political dissidents out of helicopters as a form of execution. That is not also including the numerous other human rights violations and like killings that they participated, including the funding of, including the support of a Paul Schaefer, who was a Nazi. I'm pretty sure like hardline Nazi, and who was also ran a colony that regularly practiced in child sexual abuse.
But they go, but communists aren't people. I mean, it's gross. It's just gross. And how any libertarian caucus could have any kind of acceptability with that, it's unacceptable to me. And I was kind of silent on these things for two, though I've never been a fan of that. I've never been a fan of the helicopter thing, even when I was in the cult. But now, like, even more so. But just to connect the dots, so you're not taking our word simply for it. This is Bryce's Twitter thing where he says he's the founder of the So to Speak caucus. Do you have any idea what that symbol is on his? It seems to be
That is the flag of
religious in
Vatican City.
some.
It
That's
is
what?
that is the flag of Vatican City. Bryce Vaughn is a self-professed traditionalist Catholic, and
Okay.
so yeah, that specific flag that has nothing to do in regards to Pinochet and Hoppe
Oh yeah,
and
I
stuff.
didn't think so. I mean, it seemed very like religious. It seems like the keys to the kingdom thing, which would make sense because Catholics believe that Peter held the keys. I don't want to get into Christian theology, but that makes sense. I wasn't trying to. I was just wondering what it was. I didn't recognize it.
Yeah, no
So
worries. Yeah, that is the flag of Vatican City specifically.
okay, now I gotta scoot up because I'm old. As I said, I'm a grandma and I didn't bring my right glasses again. I'm trying to let me delete that one because we won't need to see that one again. But so to then say, well, this is just some caucus, but this is him again on his personal. We're going to be connecting dots here. So this is back, not that long ago, August of 2025. If you want unapologetic right wing libertarian content, if you're a devout Hoppian, if you dare to push the libertarian Overton windows. So the types of things we're going to be showing that the So to Speak caucus reposts as things that they're supporting, this is him wanting to push the libertarian Overton window, meaning he wants to push the party in that direction. Not just that the party should be this big tent with people with different views. He wants this to be the view of the party. And he's saying it's a libertarian world. I don't think people like this have actually read the preamble to our platform. In fact, to people like this, it tends to offend them because it says things like, our goal is, a world set free, not just this country, not just Christians, because he does have a bit of a Catholic Christian nationalist flavor to him. And then he says, a couple of months ago, I, along with a few others, launched the caucus as a means to effectively advocating shifting party messaging. So this is not just some little group where they share Pepe memes and, own the libs or whatever. It is a group that is advocating a certain messaging change within the party. That is important. We can, in a perfectly libertarian way, say, screw that. We do not want that here. And that's my position, unapologetically my position. So now that we connected him with, so to speak, where he is connected himself, this is going to bring up some problems. So I wrote Steve and you wrote Steve. Steve being the chair of the LP.
Yes, Stephen Nicola. I have written to him, I believe, when had I written to him? I believe I written to him at the beginning of this week. Afterwards, waiting for just to informing him in regards specifically to the, so to speak, caucus's argument, statements about deportation of, I believe they said 40 million plus trespassers. I had shown evidence that in regards to what that meant, the 40 million plus number, Bryce has publicly stated that, that just means all illegal immigrants or all undocumented immigrants. That is false. There are articles online. If you look up the 40 million immigrant number, that is supposed to represent all types of immigrants that have immigrated into the United States recently, I believe, which will include naturalized U.S. citizens. And when a member of the public, specifically pointed it out that the caucus wants to deport all immigrants in their call for deporting the 40 million plus quote unquote trespassers, that when that person pointed out that it's meaning all immigrants, including U.S. citizens, the so to speak caucus, their official account, said outright, yes, that is what they meant.
Yep.
And so that plus the pro-ICE comments that they have been making, including a comment where it was saying that ICE was not doing enough in order to instill fear into immigrant populaces so that they are too afraid to stay in the country. All of that information have been sent to Stephen Nicola. First of all, I believe I also had I had also copied the other officers of the party, which would be Paul Darr, Evan McMahon, and Bill Redpath, to those emails. I had also sent separate emails to a few other persons on the LNC.
And I have a select list of people I don't write to the whole LNC.
I normally don't either. It's only later when Meredith brought up the whole LNC into it that I said, well, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Yeah, I generally don't, because it depends on the issue. But generally, I don't. This may seem like a little bit backwards, but I'm going to deal with the LNC first, and then we're going to get into the type of things the LNC was shown. I find it extremely cowardly, even people I like, because obviously I write people that I like on the LNC or ones that I think are persuadable. It's absolute cowardice, in my view, to put him on the candidate support committee. I do not know why some of them can't grow a pair of balls and vote NOTA. The first one to vote NOTA was Bill Redpath, because Bill has always been principled like this. The second one to vote NOTA was Keith Thompson. He always has been. Sam Bowler originally voted yes. We had a conversation. He said he didn't know this information before, and he, in a principled manner, changed his vote. Evan voted no. Those are the 4 LNC members that have done the right thing. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of a pass on regional reps, not all of them, but on this one will be specifically Mimi Robeson. She probably was directed on how to vote by her region. You're kind of in a tough spot when you're a regional. I can tell you, though, if I were a regional rep, I would have abstained if my region was telling me to vote some way that I just found morally reprehensible. I've learned over my time in the LNC, your position is never so precious as to compromise your honor. I've proven
I
that
do
several times where I've been willing to get removed over things.
I do think with a lot of the LNC members that have voted yes, I at least from like knowing their past histories and the like, I do think a good amount of the votes is simply out of ignorance, I would say.
They
I
can't
don't know if
claim ignorance anymore.
not anymore, but I do think I do think that a lot of them they have busy lives. I know. I believe one of the members was at was at his state convention, and it's a thing of they might not be paying attention to the email. I think there is a little bit of an issue of apathy and a little bit of an issue of apathy and a little bit of an issue where I'm not sure how the process goes when it comes to nominations, but at least in other organizations that I've seen, usually there would be some question and answer about a specific nominee. The nominee would be allowed to present themselves first before any voting was to happen. I would assume that possibly they would try to implement something similar to that in an email ballot. Is it impractical? Maybe,
No,
but
we've done
would
that.
allow.
We've done it before. We've done it before. The
So,
reason why
so
it wasn't,
it's a thing where sorry. So it is
no, go
so it is a
ahead.
thing where that is. But
Okay, I'll tell
even
you why they didn't. I'll tell you why they didn't. Because the
okay,
chair nominated him. Steve did not have to do that. He could have just said, Bryce Thon has expressed interest. In fact, I think it was improper for the chair to nominate him. Not against the rules, but certainly Roberts says that the chair is supposed to primarily be a presider and not really be entering into these things. He should have just said who the applicants were and allowed someone else to nominate them. There is a tremendous influence when you're the chair. Steve should have never nominated him. That's number
I
one.
would I would agree. I think there is an issue with Stephen, whether he has good intentions or not. I think he has been having a bit of a heavy hand in recent things. But going a little bit back in regards to regional representatives, I do think the thing is, I don't know how many people on the LNC have actually checked the emails. I have gotten some, I've made sure that in my emails, I always have it put as, I think, read, what is it? I get a receipt for whoever reads the email, though I think that only works for specific emails. I know that I know Matthew Johnson has seen my emails. He didn't vote because he is an alternate. McGee voted instead for him. I know that Bowler, Thompson, they've seen the email. I know that Meredith Hayes has seen the email because she directly interacted. I know Travis Best has seen the email. I know that, of course, Austin Martin has seen the email.
And Meredith Hayes' interaction was substandard as normal. You don't have to say it. I'll say it.
But yeah, it's a thing where I cannot be for certain how many members of the LNC have actually read the emails. because, like, even if they're supposed to, we are expecting them that they are supposed to read the emails that are sent to
Yeah,
the
I'm not giving them a
LLC.
pass for that. That's one thing you should be doing. You're not reading
That
your emails. Resign.
I
Resign. I was on the LNC for nearly 10 years. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'd get more emails because
I
things would be sent
I trust you
specifically
know what you're
just to the
talking about. I guess
officers. Yeah.
I know I trust you know what you're talking about with your experience. It's just I guess I was not expecting you to go like far like more hard on it than I am at the moment.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you
um,
what, there was an issue like years ago. We got like 600 responses to it. I answered every single one. Even if it was just a thank you, I answered every single one. No, it's inexcusable.
yeah,
It's not a position. Like, it's an honor to be in that position, and you need to treat it that way. I want to put up a tweet I had said as a good intro, because one of the excuses was nobody else volunteered. So I had said, instead of voting for a bigot to be on the candidate support committee, perhaps no one else, because no one else wanted to do it, perhaps consider that no one else wants to do it because you would vote for a bigot to be on the candidate support committee. One who has been bigoted towards, wait for it, a candidate. You can't make this up. And we're going to talk about it. But I want to do Stephen Nikhela's response to me first, because I
okay.
had written him before I knew you were. And his responses to me are a little bit different because he knows I used to be on the LNC. So he kind of tries to appeal to me in this way. And I'll tell you, I did every appeal in the world to them. First, I appealed to their principles. If that didn't work, I appealed to their self-interest and said, some of you are rerunning in Grand Rapids. I'm looking at you, Stephen Nikhela, who's trying to run for at-large. And you don't think this is going to come up? But and then I appealed to everything I could if their sense of right and wrong wouldn't do it. But here's what Stephen Nikhela said to me: I'd rather put my colleagues to work so they could be productive. Um, it says it earns them some right to complain, which happens often. He's trying to be clever, and it's not clever. Okay, Stephen, then why haven't you put Andrew Chatterton and Austin Martin on the litigation support committee? They both want to be on it. Why haven't there's been plenty of committees he hasn't put people on? Why this one? And he can't say it's because Oliver Hall won't work with them, because the things that the the litigation support committee is working on right now, Oliver Hall said he doesn't have time to do. So, Stephen, if you're going to be consistent, put Andrew and Austin Martin on the litigation support committee. No, you're not going to, because A, that would be a terrible decision, and B, it's because you're full of shit here.
I
But
think
now we're
even
going
when
to
it
go.
comes to I think even when it comes to putting a member of the LNC on a specific committee, I there it's one thing of having to deal with it because because he is a region alternate. There is currently no power that that the national committee has in order to remove uh, region representatives or censure them
That
because of
um,
their actions,
I'm
which
going to I'm going to give you a piece of information that's not true for Region One. I wrote the Region One agreement, and
yeah, I'm familiar with that. Right, I believe I was told about. Yes, Region One has a specific agreement where they would allow their regional representatives to be removed
yeah,
by the national committee. Yeah, you reminded me about that. I had forgotten about that. um, well, okay, I guess
I wish
actually that
the
makes it
LNC
worse.
was being ran. I wish the LNC was being ran like Wendy's, because the behavior that is being allowed on the LNC list. And people have asked me, how should Steve fix it? I don't know. I'm not the chair. But I can tell you one thing: for all the criticism people have of Nick Sarwark, none of this behavior would be going on publicly on the LNC list. And Sarwark didn't allow people to have these secret full LNC discussions. This shit didn't happen when Nick was chair. Whatever other criticisms people may have, Nick, people didn't act like this. They may have had other issues, but not this. Was it just the force of his personality? I don't know. But the way they're
Probably
behaving
not.
now is shameful. Is just shameful. So let's go to some of these other responses. These were ones to you.
Yes.
Hopefully you can read that because let's say, I could think Mr. Thon was chosen by Region 1 to represent them and is currently a member of this body. No one denied that, Steve. So what? The responsibility on appointing the best people for committees, and I had pointed out to Steve, and you had seen it, a certain Roberts provision. As such, he said, what does that say? I expect my colleagues to be put to work on various projects. It doesn't have to be this one. You could have him be making donor calls to his Mises Caucus compatriots. There's no right to be on a committee. Plus, here's the crazy thing. We are 2 months from national convention. There is no upside to the LNC. Do you want to know what the candidate support committee does? Probably in these 2 months, and what they have been doing, basically nothing. So they are completely shooting their credibility for like no gain. And the problem is, I think Steve knows he's wrong, but he is too damn proud, unlike Samuel Bowler, to admit he was wrong. Case in point, he tried to promote Adrian Maligan, who is a serial harasser on the LNC. He put down Brittany Cousin when she tried to write about sexually invasive comments that Adrian made about her. And she allowed Meredith to hop in on that thread. Meredith, who's Adrian's girlfriend, to belittle Brittany. It is so inappropriate. Steve does not have a backbone to be able to handle these things. And one thing Steve does not do, he never admits when he's wrong. I don't blame people for being wrong. I've been wrong about plenty. My judge of a man is how they act after it's been proven they are wrong.
I think the interest, like, just short, like, funny story about Maligan. I believe he said, because I asked him for comment one time. I believe he was rude about it and said, like, something about me, like, me serving Luciferian overlords or something. It was funny. It was kind of unhinged, but it was funny.
Well, Adrian is very funny. Adrian is smart as a whip, and he's very clever. That doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it an appropriate response. I think when he said that to you, because I think I remember that Angela was Cher, and she wasn't going to rein him in. But Steve didn't either. I just couldn't take the abuse any longer, and that's why I left. And I've been as happy as a clam at high tide, I tell you. I didn't realize what free life could be about. So that's one response. And again, this doesn't address the issue. But the other one I think is more telling, and I'm going to put that one up. It's right here. Let's make that viewable. He says he's not going to conflate his personal beliefs with that of a quote unquote caucus account. Bryce conflated on his own his personal beliefs with that of a caucus. Steve, this is disingenuous and unworthy of the chair.
It is a thing of, like, if it was some random caucus that, like, that Bryce might have only had, like, association because he's part of, like, a local chapter or something, wasn't aware of the national field, that's one thing. Again, I have shown evidence directly to Michaela that he is the founder of the caucus. He admits to being the founder of the caucus. He controls who is allowed in and out of the caucus. It's a thing of, it is a thing of, like, if the caucus does not represent his views, why the hell is he the leader of it? Why the hell does he own the account? Why does he have control over who can access the account if anyone else has control over that account besides himself. Um,
And
do want to do a
and
quick thing with
sorry.
because Chuck Moulton does. Sorry, I do want to do a quick comment in regards to Chuck Moulton that like regarding Bryce Vaughn was first alternate. I don't remember exactly when he was chosen to be a first alternate, but I believe that was early on, if not before the So to Speak caucus was founded, and I had still hoped that he could be persuaded by reason with him directly instead of having to be publicly outed with this stuff. Um, but yeah, moving on with continuing on this email.
Yeah, and what I would say is I see
May
the
17th. Okay.
sleight of
Yeah.
hand that Steve's trying to pull. Well, I'm not going to conflate the views of this group with this individual people. I mean, it has the veneer of plausibility, but you've already shown how it isn't. But this is a caucus also within the party. It's not like this is some club he belongs to and some outside thing. So the question I had asked you when we were chatting beneath the show, what if Bryce was the member, and I know this is, well, it's not going to be too outrageous when we show some of the things he said, but I'm not saying he's a Klansman, but I'm using an analogy. What if he was a member of a local KKK unit? Would you be quite so blasé? What if he marched in Charlottesville? Would you be quite so blasé? But as you had even pointed out, never mind being a member of a local KKK chapter, what if he was the founder of it? The LNC needs to show some discernment. We have rightly went after the Republican Party for the absolutely horrific comments, the Nick Fuentes bullshit that has come out of some young Republican clubs. We've yucked it up and pointed fingers at how terrible they are. The LNC is being no better, and it's really, really pissing me off.
Funny thing you mentioned Fuentes because Thon does admit that he watches Fuentes' content, as well as him having, I believe personally, maybe I don't know if he. Well, no, I'm not sure if he personally retweeted Fuentes' content, but the So to Speak caucus has retweeted Fuentes' content. So another little connection there.
Well, and so somebody had asked in chat, and we're not going to get terribly into it. Meredith is a member of the LNC. My issues with Meredith are varied. I've done shows on it before, but my main issue is that she violated her fiduciary duty when Angela was chair by offering Angela complete confidentiality under quasi attorney client privilege. Meanwhile, we've since found out that Angela was up to no good. No LNC member should ever say to another LNC member, I'm going to keep your secrets. I'll tell you, when I was on the LNC, sometimes LNC members would come to me and go, could I tell you in something in confidence? And anyone who's honest will tell you what my answer always was. As long as I don't have a duty to reveal it, yes, certainly. So if it was something personal, yeah. But if I had a duty to reveal it, I never promised anyone secrecy because that would have been a violation of my duty. So that's what angers me, particularly like when she went after me so viciously. I did my duty. One thing, I mean, some people will lie, but usually even my haters will say, like, I'm a duty bound person. When I put Chase on the ballot in Colorado or was responsible, for making sure that happened, I didn't even support Chase at the time, but I did it because it was the right thing to do. Anyway, that's who Meredith is. Okay. So this is just a bullshit politician response from the chair of the LP, and we should expect better. We should expect better. So we're going to pull up now. We're going to get the LNC stuff out of the way. Then we're going to go into the actual comments he said. I know this may seem a little backwards, but to me it seemed logical. So here's the ballot. It was started by Evan as secretary. That's his job. Don't hold that against them. Notice the sponsor was Nikayla, and it was to fill the vacancy. And there was a question in chat. No, they didn't have to fill this vacancy. It's 8 weeks till convention. This has come up so many times with committees. Leave it vacant. But in any event, so let's just go through this briefly. You have Nikayla jumped in first to vote for Thawne. The chair should wait to the last moment, by the way, to vote. So that was inappropriate, and that influenced people. And then you have Doug. Doug, if you're watching this, I hope Doug's reading his emails. Doug, I'm highly disappointed in you in doing this. You should not be voting for this guy. Maybe he's not reading his emails. Doug, you need to change your vote. I haven't reached out to him personally, but he's been on my email list. Travis, no surprise. Mises drone. Austin, no surprise. Mises drone. Sam changed his vote, so he at first voted for Thawne.
Another thing about Austin, I believe, is he's also a member of the So to Speak caucus because he's friends with Bryce, and I believe he was invited into it. I think he's just a member. I don't really know if he has any power in there besides just being a member, but at least that's to my best memory. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe he's not actually part of So to Speak.
It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know that. Yeah. Mimi, again, regional, so I cut some slack there. I couldn't have stomached doing that, just personally, but leaving that alone a little bit.
Plus Hayes later voted for support anyway, so whatever Mimi would have voted, it's...
Pat Ford's just been a disappointment. And I like Pat. I don't like him as an LNC member. Votes for Thawne. Maybe his region directed him. I don't know if he asked his region. Dustin, that surprises me. This is not who Dustin Koffel is. Very, very surprising.
And again, all of these votes, I believe, came a bit before, because I don't remember exactly when. Let's see, what's Monday? Monday? Oh no, I guess I know.
I didn't write them yet.
So it was a thing where they might have not been aware of it before they voted, which right now, I'm not sure that's really as good of an excuse because of how long it's been.
It's not an excuse. You are so much more kind than I am. It's not an excuse. Dustin.
Because I know that. It's because I know that I think with a lot of people, I think there is more of a systemic issue where there is a lack of proper, like as he said earlier, lack of proper discernment, a lack of proper procedure to help ensure that there is either research beforehand as well as ability to question and answer before a vote can be taken in order to know that a candidate is proper for the role.
I would sum that up in a much more blunt phrase, a lack of testicular fortitude. But in any event, Bill was the first one. And anyone who knows, I freaking adore Bill Redpath. But I didn't talk to him before this. Bill did this. And I freaking love Bill Redpath. Okay. And Andrew, who is just...
He's a character.
The best thing I could say about Andrew is I like his mustache. But that's just like saying about Satan. Well, he wears red very well. Okay, it's that kind of compliment. Let's see here. Bryce, of course, votes for himself. It's going to be counted, but I don't think it is because he's second alternate, and Andrew voted and Austin voted. Let's continue here. Yeah, so Meredith ceding to me. Meredith just needs to resign. She has no intent. I would have stopped like even criticizing her if she had the integrity to resign. I'm very disappointed in Jonathan. I like Jonathan a lot. He's done a great job with the JC appeals. This was a bad vote. But maybe his region instructed him. I know Matt didn't. I know Sam at this point didn't. So I don't think he has an affirmative vote of his region. At best, he has a tie, which means he could vote his conscience. So, Jonathan, if you happen to see this, you know you and I are cool. I wish you would change your vote. Um, Otto, of course. Otto, yeah, I don't expect anything. I don't expect anything better. Uh, Vincent, Vincent had gotten much, much better. I'm surprised at this. And Robert, I wish you would change your vote. Vincent, I had been on the outs with, but lately we've been having very cordial conversations and disappointed in this vote. He's had some really good votes, and I don't want to say anything bad about Robert, but this is a bad vote. And then here's Samuel. Samuel is a responsible LNC member. After careful consideration, I'd like to change my vote to Noda. And here's where Steve needed to step in, and Nick Sarwark never would have allowed this to happen. Austin comes in, with his, LNC list Tourette's. You're embarrassing, okay?
Yeah. So embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. That's a badge of honor. I think Sam should get that gold plated and mount it on his wall. And then he asks for professionalism, and of course these two. Steve should have jumped in here. We're not even going to give
Austin.
Yeah, Austin being Austin. And then of course, Andrew jumps in too. So we're not going to give them time. Samuel handled it well, and there's Andrew just being a little sniper. Bryce, thank you to the 12 who've supported me so far. Embarrassing to the 12 who have supported you so far. Paul hasn't voted. I wish Paul would come in and vote Noda. 2 of Steve's officers already have. We haven't gotten to it. There's Evan with Noda, and I'm very proud of Evan. So I'm glad Evan did that. So 2 of Steve's officers have voted Noda. 1 hasn't voted at all yet. Paul should vote Noda. I would encourage Paul to vote Noda. Steve should get the hint at this point. And I'm sorry I haven't gotten some comments up here, but yeah, the so-called Libertarian Caucus, that's a good one. Okay, so now we're going to start getting to some of the receipts. I'm wondering
the meat. We're now getting to the meat. We've had our veggies. Now we get to the meat.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do some of the worst ones first, shall we? So this is one of the more recent ones. Because I was really focusing on the bigotry in the title. So here we go. So I don't know who this person up here is.
Just a random person.
Okay. This person has done nothing wrong. So this is just to show context. Please don't impute anything bad to this person. I don't even know who it is. So please, no shade. But he's asking if a white person can be an immigrant, which is kind of a weird question already, but I don't know this person. And here's Bryce.
I can add some context
yeah, please.
Here. The original post was the original post was Elon Musk reposting Tucker Carlson, or not Tucker Carlson, but someone who linked a video of Tucker Carlson, and the tweet had said something along the lines of "white people need their own land," a white land for white people, or something similar like that. Elon Musk goes so true, and I think because it was like an anti-immigrant thing, and someone had made a post responding to Musk saying, with a AI generated image about basically pointing out how Elon Musk is an immigrant who is now hypocritically, being anti-immigrant. So to Speak Caucus responds to that post saying, that he's white, as in Elon Musk is white.
Yeah.
And then this guy it's this anonymous person on the internet who says, "Are you dumb? So a white person can't be an immigrant." And then, So to Speak says they can, and they are the only immigrants that we, the So to Speak Caucus, want.
And again, Bryce was like, "This is the messaging. Remember, the purpose of the So to Speak Caucus is to move." Steve, you get no passes given. Is to move the messaging of the LP. How can you possibly even remotely want to touch this and look like you're endorsing it? Shut your mouths about the bigots and the young Republicans, because you all are doing the same thing.
And I'm not sure if you also have the screenshot, because they had made two responses to that one anonymous person. This is the first one, or maybe the second one, and then they had made another response saying, specifically in regards to, so a white person can't be an immigrant. They say explicitly, quote, "We want white immigration."
Yeah,
Hopefully,
I
no one
didn't catch
clips me out of
everything.
context with that one, but
Yeah.
that's what the So to Speak caucus explicitly said, that they want white immigration, and basically they want only white immigration, as shown
Yes.
in this post.
And I didn't clip this, but you and I both saw, I just had so many emails with different things that have absolutely nothing to do with the LP. Uh, Bryce had personally said he thinks not just white immigrants, he wants only Eastern Orthodox and Catholic immigrants. So he doesn't even want white Protestants. It's not even just white Christians. Like he's a, I guess, a Catholic supremacist, but he also makes room for Eastern Orthodox, I guess. But yeah, he
The
said that as well.
traditionalism. It's because of the traditionalism. Both he is specifically a traditionalist Catholic, so he wants the more traditionalist Catholics coming in. And the reason for the Eastern Orthodox is because the Eastern Orthodox are known for a bit more of a traditional sect, being, I believe, one of the oldest sects of Christianity alongside Roman Catholicism. And while Fawn did not, I guess, explicitly says he wants only white immigration, he did say he understands what they're arguing for, which basically he still defended it. He didn't like, oppose it. He doesn't disagree with it. He never stated any disagreement with the statement, just saying it was put out of
Yeah.
context. But he specifically said that immigration should only be limited to Catholics and to Eastern Orthodox Christians. There are no Protestants allowed, no Quakers allowed, no Buddhists allowed, no Hindus allowed, no atheists or agnostics allowed. He would have basically barred the founding fathers from ever immigrating to the United States in the first place. And probably the most significant is most likely, no Muslims allowed and no Jews allowed. Because, of course, the So to Speak caucus has posted some, let's just say, distasteful stuff regarding immigrants, especially when it comes to Muslim immigrants. But they also are, because of their being anti-Zionist generally is not a bad position in my book. But I think at a point it's sort of easy to see when someone is using anti-Zionism to just be anti-Jew, which the
Yes.
So to Speak caucus, I would argue, is. And Thon, while not explicitly saying that he hates Jews or anything, he has explicitly said that he hates Judaism, and he has
But
also used Jew as an insult against Mark Levin, for example. Which, you know what, I don't make me defend fucking Mark Levin,
yeah, please.
but
Yeah. I mean,
but
but you're so correct that anti-Zionism is used as a cover for actual anti-Semitism. I'm not a Zionist. I am anti-Zionist, but I am not whatsoever anti-Jewish. I grew up in South Florida. We like to joke there are more Jews in Boca Raton than in Israel. I grew up amongst Jewish people and have nothing but love for the Jewish people. But you are correct. It is often used as a cover. To me, it's just another corrupt state. I mean, I don't like states in general, so I'm anti all states, I guess. So, but you are correct there. But let's go on with this like white supremacy. But he's even got the Catholic nationalistic flavor to it. It's right here where he's like, it's funny because the founding fathers, I don't think were Catholic because I don't really pay attention to that type of thing. But notice you
uh,
might go, oh, this isn't from him. It's reposted by the So to Speak caucus. And basically saying that and again, it's not that it's all untrue. The founders of America did restrict the franchise. That is a fact. But he's advocating that for today. And
As a
I
good
don't,
thing.
as a good thing, right? To me, the founders had some good ideas and they had some shitty ideas. And this was one of them, not something we should be advocating for today. And it's not something that the Libertarian Party should be associated with. And notice
Yeah,
the anti-woman there too, because it's just white males, and it was actually property
oh yeah,
owning white
that's
males.
true.
But
There has been a thing uh, where Thon himself has went down the anti-feminism rabbit hole, to say the least, where he is blaming feminism in regards to issues such as high divorce rates, issues in regard yeah, high divorce rates. I believe issues in regards to, I think, some economic things. I don't fully remember, but of course, also like whinging in regards to how like, oh, most Gen Z women are going on OnlyFans for some reason. I'm heavily paraphrasing because I'm
yeah,
doing it based off my memory, but it's a thing of like he has gone down the anti-feminism rabbit hole, and it's a thing where that kind of it is not surprising that the caucus would also probably lean towards that way.
and here's another gem, and this is part of the whole great replacement theory. Look at this! Isn't this just lovely? Again, so to speak, caucus reposted this. But I guess he's pro-Asian, but Asians aren't generally Catholic or Eastern Orthodox. Uh, uh, I'm not going to say consistency is his strong point, but this is the typical, great replacement theory, anti-black. I
Yep.
want to know how Stephen Nikela can look our black members in the face and be appointing, or a black candidate specifically. How does he look Larry Sharp in the face and say, this is okay? Yeah, this is who we want on our candidate support committee.
Larry Sharp is a topic for another time because I think there are issues with Larry Sharp, and because I've talked with some people. One of my friends, she is a member of the Libertarian Party of New York. She
But
has,
those are like different political issues. I'm just speaking on racial grounds.
yeah,
Um,
they're different in regards to what's with the context of this. It's a different thing. It's a thing where, in the past, at least, Larry Sharp has ran as a Libertarian candidate. And it's a thing of, can we really support? How can we say that we are willing to support those candidates and put someone on a candidate committee when this is what that
right.
person's caucus posts?
And Larry Sharp certainly isn't the only black candidate, but he's one I knew everyone would know. So like this is
Harrington, I
definitely a
remember, I
problem.
believe, a Harrington Jr. that was also a candidate who was, I believe, something
HVAC
Harrington Jr.
says HVAC said Larry Sharp's Eastern Orthodox. I don't know if that's true or not. So
Uh,
maybe he gets a pass. Oh my God. I'm going to give you all some trivia if you didn't know. People who watch my show a lot may know, but I'm sure this is going to spawn a million conspiracy theories. My heritage is actually Russian Orthodox. My ancestors are from Lithuania and Russia, so maybe I'm a Russian spy. But yeah, my grandmother and my mother, they all grew up in the Russian Orthodox Church, where actually it was so Russian Orthodox they didn't even speak English in the services; they spoke frickin' Russian. But in any event, I still, though, have a great fondness for, well, the Orthodox tradition, the Eastern Orthodox. It encompasses, the Greek Orthodox and the Russian Orthodox. Over our doorways in my house, I have the Russian Orthodox or Eastern Orthodox crosses hanging that has that additional bar. I don't know how familiar you are with the different
it,
Christian traditions.
it's the additional bar is supposed to represent the signpost that has, like,
Yeah,
labels like Jesus as the King of the Jews.
right. And I have in our guest bedroom an icon from the Eastern Orthodox Church of the Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus, because that was just a nod to my heritage. And in any event, so let's get that one off. I think we got all the really racist shit. But let's go to the ice
The
stuff
one
now,
that
shall
the
we?
ones that we clicked, at least there's more. There is
Yeah.
more.
Oh, there's
You will
more.
easily
This could
find
have been
so much more.
yeah, but this is
We
stuff
could
that
have
was
gone
sent
for
to the
like a
LNC.
24-hour marathon. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Now let's do a little bit of ice stuff. This is a bit cut off, I think. Maybe the other one is, but it showed what I wanted to. No, this is the one. It's cut off a bit, but here's the part that I wanted to that just is so disqualifying. Just because a region elects someone shitty, the LNC should freeze them out if they just hold abhorrent views. I'm against the regional system. This is a prime example. I'm just whatever. Forcibly deporting migrants benefits me. Ice Ice Baby. They murdered 2 American citizens in the streets. This
I think
is
they might have been nine
just
actually. There
okay.
were
I've been called out for that before. That I only care about what. When I tend to give
no.
examples, it's it's the stuff that everyone knows. That's what I try to.
Yeah,
It's
no,
been
I'm
more
not,
than two.
I'm
Yeah,
not trying to, call
yeah.
you out there. It's a thing where I didn't know about it
Mm.
until like relatively recently because I had participated in an anti-ice in an anti-ice protest. I believe about a month or two ago, and I had not known about the other people who had been the other U.S. citizens who had been killed by ICE until that protest. So it's not a thing of like saying that. It's just want to be a record of like there's a lot more
Yeah,
that's being done and that we don't know about. A lot
well,
more.
it's a fair criticism. No, it actually is a fair criticism. I need to be a bit more careful with that, but everyone does know those too. So I try to evoke at least the ones that people know about. But
Yeah.
here's another one
And
though
it's
for for those of everyone
just
who's like
quickly in
the
regards to that past one, though, I do want to just quickly go to that past one because it cut off a little bit at the bottom one there. But the bottom one was the caucus specifically saying that ICE was not doing enough to
mm,
make immigrants
to
more
terrorize
afraid.
people.
Yeah, they weren't doing enough to terrorize people. It's disgusting.
And then for yeah, those who are all pro, military, back the blue, and all of that. I know the military is not the police, but it's usually a lot of the same crowd. Now, obviously, um, I'm not the type of person. If you remember back to the Arvin Vohra controversy, where he really just like shit on veterans, I'm not like that. People get deceived, and like I know so many veterans that regret their involvement. They were sold on a lie. So here we go. Nick Gillespie from Reason is sharing this article about a disabled veteran who is a U.S. citizen got caught up in this raid. And look at the cavalier attitude here. You want an omelet, you got to break some eggs. Well, you want to know what, Mr. Thon? We want an omelet on the LNC. So I think we ought to break your egg of being on the candidate support committee. You just heartless, disgusting bastard. I'm sorry. I'm not holding back.
Uh, I don't fault you for not holding back. It's a thing of, it is a thing of like, even if, assuming best case scenario, that he does not personally share these beliefs, he has been repeatedly told about these statements. He has repeatedly
You
been
are
given
way
chances to
too
rectify
kind.
it. Like I said, best case scenario. This is just the best case scenario. This isn't the
Yeah.
reality. I think at this point it's a thing of like he has to agree to some of these things at some point.
Yeah.
By
This is his
because even
caucus.
it's his caucus, he has been repeatedly informed about all of these things. He has been repeatedly given chances to rectify the issue. which he has the power to because, again, he is the founder, he is the owner of that account. He has a lot of control over the caucus and the account. He has simply chosen to do nothing. Or he has defended some
Right.
comments, like this 40
And
million thing. He had specifically claimed in defense of the whole 40 million thing when it was brought up to him publicly on, I'm calling it fucking Twitter, I'm not calling it X, but when it was
I call
publicly
it
brought to
Twitter.
him, yeah, when it was publicly brought up to him, he like decided to make the claim that, oh, they're just talking about illegal immigrants. That 40 million people just means illegal immigrants. Fundamentally not true. He has been made aware of that before he replied, I'm pretty sure. Either before or very, again, my memory is not the best. But he had been informed at least sometime around then that that is not true. That it includes all immigrants, including US citizens who are naturalized. And yet, that is what he chooses to defend. This is the kind of post that he lets his caucus make, the kind of
And
messaging
it's
that he
it's
lets his
it's an
caucus make.
advocation that some coercion is necessary to get your results. And I'm going to be a petty little bitch here a little bit. He misspelled omelet. Now I'm the queen of misspelling stuff. I
Yeah,
misspelled your name in the original thumbnail. What did I called you?
I,
John
I
T.
have
John
John
T.
T. Ponty.
Ponty.
I have that as I set that as I set that as a server nickname now. I that is now in one of the like Discord servers that is now my server nickname. I have it like in like parentheses, John T. Ponty.
Oh yeah, I'm the queen of misspellings, but I could also be a salty bitch and be like, "You want an omelet? Yeah, I want an omelet, dude." Okay, yeah. If you're if you're gonna be like this in any event, I think I did miss one of the racist ones. Unfortunately, we're gonna go back to that. Why not? Um, let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if we can make this a little bigger.
Oh yeah,
That's what she,
yeah, that one.
let me pull this down. So basically, yeah, those people who are, different on the color palette other than the white shade, the genetics determine destiny and politics. This is all the New Hampshire stuff, which
Yep,
Steve rebuked them
that account,
for.
Mayor of Manchester. Oops, sorry.
Let me tell you one thing. I should have clipped this when I originally wrote the LNC. I'm like, why are you putting Bryce Thon on the candidate support committee? Just go full steam ahead and appoint Jeremy Kaufman rather than Kaufman bought from Timu.
Or Patrick Binder, because the mayor of
Yes.
Manchester, that is the account of Patrick Binder, the former
Yeah.
treasurer of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, as well as the head of this organization, I believe called New Hampshire First. I had did some digging in regards to that and had shared like a while ago a bit of an info thread about it. New Hampshire First is also an ethno-nationalist organization. It's and Patrick Binder has argued for a caste system to be implemented in the United States, where depending on how many generations your family goes back in being in the United States, you will get that many votes.
And for
In
again people to
the
go, oh, neither of these are the caucus. You have to see up at the top here. They reposted it. They do a lot of reposting of just really terrible content. And Joe gave Adrian some credit, and I'll give him this credit. As he said, Region 1 is not sending their best. That is fact check true. Okay, so I can't believe I forgot that one racist thing. So now we're going to go more to things that are very specifically. Did I delete the wrong thing? I might have, but
hopefully
I
not.
still think I got. Hopefully not. Well, we got a lot. We're not showing every receipt. We're giving you guys a taste. So
True.
let's pull up this Republican ones here. Um, Again, it's a repost. So basically, Tony D'Orazio of Pennsylvania, formerly of New York, is like saying we don't exist to support Republicans. So remember now, we're dealing with someone who is going to be on the candidate support committee, who is advocating the New Hampshire view that we should be supporting Republicans. Yeah. I thought
or at
we
least
got rid of
its
all this
caucus.
shit when we, yeah, when Angela was gone. So I did
Nope.
write Steve and the rest of the LNC going, oh, since you're putting such a person on the candidate support committee, should I write Colorado now and tell them that they should reinstitute the abominable Liberty Pledge? Since you guys are basically spitting in their face by saying, oh, this is fine for candidate support. So it's not just that the guy has racist views, anti-immigrant views. He has bad views specifically when it comes to the job he's being appointed for. There are other clips
Or
I
at the,
didn't that you go ahead, John, because
I'm
there's some I didn't clip that you can describe.
at the very least, when it comes to this specific post, it's a thing of um, this is his caucus. He is at some point he it is because it is his caucus. He has to take responsibility over what his caucus posts, what his caucus messaging does, what the policies and ideas they advocate for, because he has so much control. He can control who is allowed in the caucus. He can control who is given permissions to post. Again, assuming that there is even another person that is posting on these accounts. He has a lot of this authority within the caucus, and he has been like told about all this sort of shit, and he has not done an iota of anything.
And Steve is running cover for him. Just like Steve ran cover for the harassment that was on the LNC before. I wouldn't be so hard on Steve here. I'd still be hard on him if this wasn't a pattern and practice of him just not showing leadership backbone. I'm sorry. I said what I said. So I saved the worst for last when it comes to qualifications for being on the candidate support committee. And unfortunately, like, I don't like putting Chase through this, but it's necessary to put this up. So somebody says, isn't Chase Oliver a pedophile? That is slander. But here you go. So to speak, caucus. Bryce Thon either approved or this was him posting it. It's safe to assume most gays are. I can't think of a more anti-libertarian statement and a more disqualifying statement to be on the candidate support committee. This is our top of ticket candidate last time, and this guy is defaming him, and Chase is a current candidate. If my dog wasn't right here, say hi to Lucy, everyone, I would spit on the ground in disgust. Fuck you, Bryce. Fuck you. Sorry.
Well, first of all,
I get
hi,
passionate
Lucy.
about these things.
No, that's fair. First of all, hi, Lucy. And yeah, when it comes to this was I believe this was actually one of the first posts that I had been made aware of. Interesting thing, I guess, is that this was posted July 2025. I believe that, Bryce, when we showed that like thing of the announcement, that announcement was made August,
I think.
2020. So
this was almost 99.9% him. Like, this isn't somebody else, because he didn't even announce it yet. He was still in the formation phase. But in any event, this is just
it's a thing of
yeah.
it is a thing where, and this is again also another pattern, because the caucus has specifically, to be blunt, been posting a lot of homophobic stuff. They are very homophobic. Yeah. They are very transphobic. I believe. Do you have the one where they are? Do you have the screenshot where they're calling for the revocation of gay marriage?
No, I did because I had to really pick and choose because we'll start to lose attention span,
Right.
and wanted to. There's a lot more. As I said,
Yeah.
I had to pick and choose. There's a lot more. He tries to use the religious argument for wanting to get rid of gay marriage. Of course, if he was going to do a libertarian religious argument, he should say the state should stay out of it and culture should just accept that marriage is a religious institute. But no, he doesn't advocate, at least that I saw in any of these screen posts. He certainly
Public,
focuses on gay
privately,
marriage.
privately, he justifies it by saying, oh, he wants to take the state out of marriage and have it as a religious institution. Even assuming that is what he believes, in that post calling for the revocation of gay marriage, I believe it is generally understood that when that is spoken, it is talking about the institution of gay marriage as a legal institution. A legal institution that protects many gay people in many states who would not have been able to have been allowed to marry within their state. Currently, 18 states in their state constitutions ban both gay marriage and gay civil unions. And it is a thing of when it is brought up how, oh, you lost your camera, when it
Oh,
is
let me
brought
move
up,
that. I wanted to balance us out since that was the last screenshot I had.
yeah,
Okay.
when when it was brought up that if one was arguing for the revocation of gay marriage on a federal level, that means you are arguing for the revocation of the rights for gay people to marry or to be in civil union in 18 states. His
And
excuse was
I
that
wonder, I mean, as a
sorry, let me
Catholic
quickly finish.
nationalist, I wonder if he believes that contraception should be illegal, because that's a very Catholic traditionalist view.
Probably. I couldn't know for sure, but I wouldn't be
Yeah, I haven't
surprised.
seen
And
anything.
it's,
I haven't seen it. Yeah, but
yeah,
I think we've shown enough that the LNC needs to show some backbone here. Paul, you haven't voted. I'm calling upon you to vote no to. I think you're rerunning. It will show some leadership. Steve, you need to swallow your pride and show some leadership here. You've done that with trying to go after McCardle, though Chatterton raised that point of order about the policy manual. I hope to see a motion from you to get the funding for that. You're never going to have any kind of trust in this party until that happens. But this is just such an unforced error that did not need to happen.
it's, yeah, no, it's a thing of like whoever he can say all he wants that it's because it's not him personally saying it on his own account, then it's like it can't, like he might not, he like saying like, oh, it's a thing of like, this is taken out of context, this yada yada yada. It is all deflection, because at the end
It
of the
is.
day, he is the founder, he controls the account and owns the account. He can decide
Yeah,
whoever
there's
gets to be on that account. He can decide whoever gets to be allowed in his caucus. He currently leads that caucus. He is responsible for everything that that caucus does officially. And when you have it that the caucus is advocating for revoking gay marriage, which I think that whether you believe, whether you have any religious belief that marriage should not be like whatever sanctioned for gay people and say, granted, that gets me neck, but but also whether you believe religiously the marriage should only be like a religious institution or the like, you should, however, respect the right of people to marry, even if in like secular ways, because you can have a marriage in secular areas. You can have marriages in churches that are, uh, accepting of gay people. I believe the Anglican Church, which is quite an old church, is an example. They accept gay marriage.
Well, and I should have
Web,
clipped that because the religious argument doesn't fly, because the one clip I didn't put up here, it doesn't just say a religious thing. It basically says, yes, it's been a disaster and it's had the predictable results. So it's not just that. It is claiming that gay marriage is responsible for evils in society and things like that. It's 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 just, it doesn't have a place in the LP, and that is in fact freedom of association, dude. You are forcing something into this culture, which I believe the LNC should reject. And Steve is like kind of doing like a both sidesism, and he needs to be a leader here. So the ballot ends tonight. Do I expect anyone else to change their votes? No, but I will give them absolutely great credit if they do. And the persons I think really should is Doug and well, there's three, and Jonathan McGee and Robert Vinson. Those persons really need to change their votes.
it is a thing of, yeah, when it comes to this, the LNC is supposed to help represent the Libertarian Party, and its members should be embodying the libertarian principles that it argues for. Whatever personal, like, subjective beliefs they have, I don't think it justifies allowing someone who to be on the candidate support committee who has, of course, uh, leads a caucus that has alleged that that a candidate for the Libertarian Party was a pedophile, or that was
Yeah.
safe to assume that he is a pedophile. When a that leads a caucus that argues in support of ICE's violence and reign of terror, which directly goes against the recent resolution passed by the LNC condemning ICE for its violations of the Fourth Amendment. When it's arguing such basic, like, things that violate such basic principles when it comes to wanting to use coercion and force against immigrants, when it comes to wanting to, I would argue, bar freedom of association by barring gay people to be married, when it is doing all of these things, when it is supporting and praising a regime that has used violence, saying about Pinochet that they respect his art in regards to political rule, where it was using violence against communists and political dissidents, which included children of communists and political dissidents, where they were raped, murdered, abused systematically by a regime. When they have no remorse, when they have no disgust, they have no sense of empathy about those kinds of evils that are perpetrated by a regime, they're not just anti-libertarian. I would say they're anti-human to an extent. I believe fundamentally that that caucus, which is being led by an alternate for Region 1, currently being voted on to be appointed to be a candidate support committee for libertarian candidates, I believe fundamentally they oppose the idea of people having natural, inalienable rights, and that they oppose the idea of treating people justly and as individuals, not as collectives. And I believe they would abhor Jesus Christ if he was to come again today to preach his gospel.
And again, like I said before, if this had been a Republican scandal, we would have been all over it. And it's just such hypocrisy that I just cannot stomach from the LP. But we're coming up. Oh, we're exactly. Are we
Well,
exactly? Or I think we're even more
well,
than an
10.
hour and a half. So what I would like to do for you to give your Twitter handle, and I think you have, it's not Substack, you write on Medium, I believe it is,
Yeah,
and then we will be over and out. I appreciate you so
yeah,
much going on with me with this. You're the one who inspired me to start writing the LNC because I kind of just been sick and tired of everything, but you got me all fired up on this one.
yeah. Thank you. I'm always happy for. I'll first, of course, I'll like what is it? What's the term? Uh, in regards to, of course, the social media accounts, Facebook, go by Liberty Centuries, though I don't post as much as I do on Twitter, at Liberty Centuries, and of course, Medium, the Liberty Centuries. But also, I do want to give a quick shout out regarding a video. Yeah, at Liberty Centuries. I do want to give a quick shout out regarding my colleague and friend, Jeremiah Harding. He had also made I think a 1.5 hour stream, if not a 2 hour stream, going in much more detail, showing a lot more screenshots that even I did not have originally about what Bryce Fawn himself had, like, sort of argues and believes, as well as what his caucus argues and believes. So if you want, also go check out his thing. I forget exactly what he did on Facebook. I forget exactly what his
But
Facebook was. It's
this is
either
his
Insanity is
Twitter,
Free
I
or Jeremiah
think.
Talk.
Yeah.
That is his Twitter. Yes, Insanity is Free. So check him out as well for as
I'm
like
trying to put it where it
another
could be
thorough
seen
deep
better. There it
dive.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Check him out as well for another thorough deep dive regarding Bryce Thon. One that I think, Karen Ann, if you think you went hard and a bit aggressive, he goes harder.
Yeah, I've had Jeremiah on my show. So, yeah, Jeremiah and I have been friends for a while. Okay, I appreciate you, John. I'm going to get you disconnected. We're going to go to the closing screen. I hope everyone has an awesome night. And I enjoyed doing the show, but it was unfortunate that we had to do the show. But I'm so grateful for having you on. I hope you all have an awesome night. Bye bye.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they wanna do